Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about some signs of a narcissist entitlement. When it comes to people with the narcissist personality disorder, somebody would need at least 5 of the 9 criteria in order to be classed as on the spectrum of that disorder. And although yes, narcissistic people can behave very similar, they do also have their very own personality types, which plays into their behaviour. You can have the grandiose that is most likely going to have high signs of arrogance, therefore they're going to be a bit more obvious and in your face. And you can have a vulnerable, a fragile narcissist that's a bit more covert, that believes they're special but doesn't believe those around them agree. So they're going to be a little bit more subtle within their manipulation of those around them. And depending on which 5, or some have all 9 of the criteria that a narcissist has, depending on what top 2-3 traits that narcissist has, depends also on how they're going to treat those around them. If you're dealing with someone whose top 3 traits are that lack of empathy, envious of others, and a sense of entitlement, they're going to be an extremely toxic, if not dangerous person to be around, that you might want to distance yourself from. No contact distance. If you're dealing with a narcissist that believes they are special, shows arrogant and haughty behaviours, is preoccupied with getting their needs met, and they're their top 3 sort of characteristics to the disorder that they display, they're not going to be the most pleasant of people to be around. They're going to be very challenging to deal with. They're not going to want to see your point of view, but these are the kind where once you learn their behaviour, you can learn to manage your time around them. No contact is always the best when dealing with narcissistic people. However, this isn't always possible. So one of the criteria of the narcissist personality disorder is that sense of entitlement. Now, some narcissists, this will be really high on the list. Other narcissists, they might not actually have this criteria, or it's very low down on the list of the criteria that they display. When it comes to that sense of entitlement, they have an inherent belief that they are deserving of special treatment, special privileges. They believe they're entitled to have what they want, when they want, wherever they want, with whoever they want. And they have that sort of the blinkers on, the tunnel vision. They don't get it from another point of view. It's like Christmas presents, for example. If you celebrate, or if it's not Christmas, if you give people gifts, if somebody buys a narcissist parent, partner, child a box of chocolates, then that narcissist believes they're entitled to just eat that box of chocolates, that it's just theirs also, and that it doesn't matter how it affects the other person, it's just theirs. However, if someone gets that narcissist the same box of chocolates, that box of chocolates is theirs. They're not going to share any with you. Why do you think you should have mine? They're mine. These were brought for me. These are not for you. Yours are for me, but these are mine and mine only. Yet at the same time, they'll also be incredibly ungrateful because of that sense of self-entitlement. So it'd be like, well, what have you brought me chocolates for? They believe they deserve more. Whatever you give them, they believe they're entitled to more. They believe they're bigger and better and deserve more, which is usually why, with that sense of entitlement, that sense of that criteria for envy, they are extraordinarily envious of other people, we can all be jealous. We can all be jealous of things. Now, somebody can, if you like animals, if you like dogs, somebody can get the most beautiful dog that you have ever seen that you are incredibly jealous of. And that is a clue that that is something you would like for yourself. However, you wouldn't go and destroy it for that person. You wouldn't go and ruin it for that person. You wouldn't go and shame the person. You wouldn't go and start mocking dogs to that person. You'd be like, oh, you're so lucky, I would love to have a dog like that. If you're not a dog person, because we're all individuals, you wouldn't therefore be jealous of somebody who's just got a dog because you're not interested in having a dog. So jealousy is a big cue in life that you would like something, and there is those who recognize this and go out and achieve something for themselves. Narcissistic people are envious. So if a narcissist likes dogs, narcissists aren't always that great with animals. Some can be, some can't be, depends on the criteria. If a narcissist is interested, they are going to start slandering dogs to people. Well, what would they want one of those for? Oh, it's just going to poo all over the garden. What would you... And they're going to be putting it down, and then you'll find 3 weeks later suddenly they have the exact same dog. Or some will go to the extremes of being vicious to the dog when nobody's looking, kicking the dog when nobody's looking, because that's the narcissist envy shining through. They don't see it as, oh, that's something I would like. They see it as something they need to destroy. Some narcissists will go all out to treat the dog, to bring the dog onto the narcissist side. It all depends on the narcissist you're dealing with. So with a narcissist sense of entitlement, they believe they have a right to something regardless of whether it is theirs or not. If someone was to loan them something, the narcissist then classes this as their possession. So if a narcissist is setting up home and somebody loans them a TV temporarily until they're on their feet, and once they're on their feet they buy themselves a TV, and another family member needs a TV, so you ask for that TV back to loan to another family member, and to that narcissist it'll be a case of, well, no, it's mine, you gave that to me, even though they don't need it. They will happily have it sat there in a spare room not being used than give it to somebody else, because they just believe that that is theirs and that they deserve it, and for whatever reason the other person doesn't. Narcissists often believe that everybody else is privileged, so they don't deserve to have things, and that the narcissist is not privileged, therefore they deserve to have it. A narcissist will happily see family members suffer and struggle to get one over on someone. A narcissist, an entitled narcissist, will rarely help out unless there is something in it for them. Every interaction with a self-entitled narcissist to that narcissist is a transaction. They're looking at what they can gain in return. So they will not do for you unless there is something in it for themselves. They'll not give their grandchildren a lift unless they can exploit some money and be in financial gain towards fuel, towards the car. They'll not do it to break even. They will need to be in financial profit. Yet they will expect people to drop everything and help them. Now, not all narcissists are like this, but the majority of self-entitled narcissists will expect people to drop everything and help them. If they need to borrow your car, they expect to be able to just borrow your car. If they need a lift, they will expect a lift. They will not think that they need to give you any money. However, if you need a lift, they'll not give you a lift, or they'll expect you to give them money. Basically, because a self-entitled narcissist is more than happy to take, yet very unwilling to give. A self-entitled narcissist believes they're entitled to special treatment, special attention, especially the tightwad. They believe they don't have to pay to get in somewhere like everybody else. They'd rather get one over on people and find a way to sneak into the venue. People can do this without the other criteria, without other behaviours. Doesn't make somebody a narcissist. However, narcissistic people who are self-entitled and have that entitlement at the top of their disorder are most likely to display these kinds of behaviours. They will not take responsibility for anything they do wrong. Narcissists in general don't take responsibility for anything they do wrong, because to them they are perfect and anything that goes wrong is always somebody else's fault. Therefore, they're always looking for a scapegoat to shame, to blame, to criticise, to judge, to distract people away from what the narcissist has done by accusing somebody else of doing the same thing. If a narcissist is cheating on their partner, they will start discussing with their partner how somebody at work, a neighbour, a friend, a relative is cheating on their partner, who often isn't even doing that. The narcissist is usually describing their own behaviour to get it off their chest, yet also having that sense of smugness because they've admitted to it without admitting to it. They've taken you off the track of what is actually happening to you by getting you to think that it's happening to somebody else. And a narcissist feels entitled to do this. They feel entitled to exploit people, and they usually lack the empathy to care for how it affects people. As they have that sense of entitlement, as they usually have that envious face, no matter what you give to them, no matter what you do for them, it is never enough for them. Yeah, as they do have those double standards, as they are that self-entitled hypocrite, what they do for you is more than enough. And they will do the bare minimum, but they will expect you to be eternally grateful for anything they do for you, yet anything you do for them will not be enough. You'll often find with an entitled narcissist, they always have something to complain about. They always have something to moan about. Now, we can all have things to complain about in life. Life does get challenging at times. However, a narcissist, an entitled narcissist, will look for things to complain about because they are envious of others. So they'll often be complaining about what somebody else has got that they haven't got, because they are rarely able to appreciate what they've got within their own life due to their envy. Therefore, they're always looking at what other people have got and always complaining about what other people have got. They can do this in a way of putting other people down, what other people have got down. So if people have brought themselves a camper van, and the narcissist always wants a camper van, the narcissist might be able to afford one, but they don't want to part with their money, especially a tightwad one. They'll be stood there with, oh, look at them with their tin tent. What would you want a tin tent for? Due to the narcissist envy of wanting one, but not willing to part with their money to get one for themselves. So they find various ways to complain, and one of those ways is by putting other people down. A self-entitled narcissist will always be claiming that everybody else has all the luck in the world, that they got a helping hand, that they got a leg up, that if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have what they've got, because a narcissist sees themselves as very hard done to and believes that everybody else is privileged. Therefore, they think that they should be entitled, that they should be privileged also. They're not willing to look into the hard work that people put in to achieve things. They're always looking into criticising and pulling it down any way they can so that the narcissist can feel better about themselves. Self-entitled narcissists will not take no for an answer. most narcissists won't take no for an answer. If you tell a self-entitled narcissist that you'll think about something, later down the line they're going to turn around and tell you that you agreed to something you definitely did not agree to. And they'll get you on the defensive. They'll get you explaining and justifying yourself to them so that they can twist it, so that they can guilt trip you, so they can blame you, so that they can shame you, so that they don't have to take responsibility for not listening correctly to you, and so that they can get you to say yes and get their sense of entitlement met. And when it comes to an entitled narcissist, they lack the self-awareness. Just like that box of chocolates, they will happily sit there eating all of yours, yet you'll not be allowed to touch theirs, yet it doesn't compute within them. And they can be like this no matter who they are around. The grandiose narcissist, the arrogant narcissist who's unpleasantly proud of who they are because they lack the self-awareness, can be sat with your entire family being like this. Other narcissists, the fragile, the vulnerable narcissists, will be a bit more covert about it. They will act differently depending on who is around, depending on who they are trying to impress. They will still lack the awareness of the fact that they're behaving differently in front of one family member than they are to the other family member. They'll find a way to justify and rationalise that, or rage out at you, or fall silent on you if you call them into question over their behaviour, because they believe that they're entitled to behave as they please, whether that is being who they are no matter who they are around, or changing who they are depending on who they are around, and depending on how other people might perceive their actions, depending on the consequences they might receive for their actions. Depends on how that narcissist will behave. However, they lack the awareness to recognise how this behaviour is wrong. They believe they're entitled to act like that. When it comes to dealing with a narcissist and their sense of entitlement, there are many signs. Any that you've dealt with, please do add those into the comments for those reading through. If you are looking for more information, understanding and help overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and the teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the description. I shall add the playlist on the 9 criteria of the narcissist personality disorder into the description also. Thank you very much for listening. Go out there, create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.